Good evening, everybody! Welcome back. My name is Kris, this is Wizard Way, and welcome back to my weekly recap / watch party for The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power on Amazon Prime. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, Monday! I see you there on TikTok. Anybody who sees this on TikTok, please feel free to jump on over to my YouTube channel. We are going to be reviewing my notorious Twitter threads where I go through all of the Elvish details, and in this case some of the Numenorian details, within the last episode of The Rings of Power. Now this is before tonight's episode drops, so we'll be reviewing episode 4, and then we'll be watching episode 5. So that is the master plan. We typically chat for about an hour, and then we'll double check and see if everything's dropped, and try and sync up our clocks so that we can watch the episode together. So, in case you're jumping on over on TikTok and you're like, this isn't a calligraphy stream, what the hell? Since it's Thursday night, I will be doing this live stream, which will last for the next hour over on TikTok, and then once we start the actual watch party, I'll shut TikTok down and just do that over on YouTube. Following the watch party, however, I have chosen to, in honor of it being Hobbit Day, I have chosen to do an additional calligraphy live stream over on TikTok afterwards, and that will probably last for a couple hours, and then I'm actually going to go to bed instead of trying to stay up all night and do all of the details like I normally do. It's been a very, very long day. I've done, I think, 3 different filming things today. And so we have this live and then another live after that. So I'm going to be tapped out by the time we finish up all of the live streams tonight. So that's going to be the plan. We'll do a calligraphy live stream later tonight, but for now, we're just going to chillax, recap episode 4, and then watch episode 5. If you'd like to see the Twitter thread that I'm referencing, all of that is over on my YouTube channel. So if you want to see what I'm looking at and be able to follow along with the various notes and visuals that I'll be referencing from episode 4, please head over to my YouTube channel. I also definitely need the watch time over there if I'm ever going to get monetized, so if you want to do me a favor and support my channel, that's the best way you can do it. Even if you jump over there and then click the mute button and just keep me open on your phone. Even that helps. So, I appreciate everybody. Hey, Caitlin! Happy Hobbit Day to everybody! Lord Bunnybone, welcome you guys. JK, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you! Oh, it's been a wild, wild day. I just finished up filming with Don Marshall 72 for a special project that we're working on, so that probably won't be out for several weeks. Sorry guys, delayed satisfaction on that one. But I have done something fun with him, and that'll be coming out relatively soon. I think we're still, at least a month away? At least a month away, if not 2 months away from that airing. So it'll probably air, like, when I'm recovering from top surgery, which is not a bad thing. At least there will be some sort of content coming out of me, because I'm going to be really just focusing on me when I'm recovering from surgery. So there might not be a lot of content coming out in early November. Early and mid-November. We're gonna try and take some time, you know, for myself. But welcome everybody who's over on TikTok. Hi guys! Not doing a calligraphy stream just yet. That will be later tonight. Later. In, what do we want to say, like 2 hours? Something like 2 hours. We'll do a calligraphy stream over on TikTok. But for now we're gonna go through... I know, secrets, right? I keep secrets from y'all. It's just fun projects, but I just can't quite talk about them yet. Something's happening. But I mean, what else is new? There's always something happening behind the scenes with me. I am also still trying to record and then remix, just do vocal mixing, for my Elvish translation of Icy Fire. So Icy Fire is one of the songs from the Hobbit trilogy, originally written and performed by Ed Sheeran. Fantastic rendition by Celtic Woman as well. But I have already recorded the main vocal. I just need to do a bunch more layers. it's a lot. There's a lot involved in trying to do a full song, and it's a first-time thing for me, so we'll be trying to get that finalized, hopefully before my top surgery as well, so we'll see. It depends on my editor's schedule, because I do actually have someone doing the voice editing for that, to make my voice sound nice, because I can sing, and heck, I'll even do a preview over on TikTok. It won't sound like, or preview on YouTube. It won't sound like anything on TikTok, because you guys don't have the filters that are through my OBS over on YouTube. But yeah, lots of things in the works. And I'm still way behind in making actual TikTok content on the show. I swear I'm just gonna make all the content, like, afterwards. Because it's just been non-freaking stop. When am I going to release my Simp for Sauron September merch? It is live. It is actually live. Let me put that in chat. I'll type it out in the YouTube chat for you guys. But it is... Oops. There you go. So it is wizardwaychris.creator-spring.com. That is my merch store over on Spring, and the Simp for Sauron September merch is finally live. So in honor of Hobbit Day, the Simp merch is live. Someone did make a brilliant comment over on Twitter that today we move from hot Sauron summer to the fall of Numenor, har har, because it's the first day of fall. And I was like, that was clever. I'll give you that one. That one was clever. Yeah, I did post it briefly on Twitter, but I think it got lost because it was pretty late at night that I posted that I finally finished everything. But it is all up on my website. Yeah, even if you go to the Elf Boy website through TikTok, because I know that one is definitely linked in my bio. I think the merch store is also linked in my bio, though. We'll see. I really should double check those things before I go live. But I believe it's there. And even if it just directs you to the elfboy.com, the t-shirt merch, the geeky elvish merch, you can click on that and it will take you to my website, the Spring website. Hey, I'm glad you like the eye. Yeah, the Eye of Sauron design is honestly my favorite thing. It is my favorite thing right now. I really, really love that design. And I am super excited that they finally added black mugs on Teespring. I know that seems like such a silly thing to get excited about, but when you have a lot of designs that look best on black backgrounds, but all they do are white coffee mugs, it looks like trash. So, because if you then try and put a black background, you have like a white handle, and like the mug is white, but they had to print a black background and then your design, and it looks terrible. So they finally added actual black coffee mugs. So it'll just print my design on the already black mug. And it looks so much better. So there are a lot of options over on my website. I did make sure to include some new and fun things, including, small drum roll, workout wear, which is a first for me. I'm usually not the type to, like, especially because I don't push very feminine stuff, typically. I'm usually very unisex. There is more femme workout wear, like biker shorts, leggings, and full printed sports bras. So those are available through Spring as well. When I uploaded my Eye of Sauron design... Hey, I'm glad you have the same hair. I love my hair. Well, and of course I do that and it goes all wild on me. When I uploaded that Eye of Sauron design, specifically the one that has the red eyeliner look to it, if you go to the website, you'll see what I'm talking about. When I uploaded that one, what Spring does is it basically sort of preloads a preview of what that design will look on all of its possible merch options. And when I scrolled down past the workout wear, it looked really good. Not because it actually showed the full design, but because the design was so large that it looked more abstract, and like it was just white, black, and red, and I thought it looked so cool. So I actually went in and edited it so that all of the lines went places that I felt like they looked good. And I put it out there as like sort of, it's Eye of Sauron, but it's more subtle, I guess, because it's just really bold lines and it looks more abstract. So I did the white, black, and red version, and then I also did the fire gradient version, which is usually on a black background. So there's a white set of workout clothes and then a black set of workout clothes. What am I doing? I am shilling my own merch at the moment, but we're going to be covering the most recent episode of Rings of Power before tonight's episode drops. So we'll be talking about episode 4. In fact, let's switch up the scene and do just that. Let's switch it up. Welcome back, everybody. Okay. So as per usual, this is my Twitter thread over on my Twitter, where I post these threads every week that give you a basic, quick and dirty summary of all of the Elvish, Dwarvish, or Numenorian details in Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. So last week's episode was episode 4, so that's the one we will be reviewing, and then when the time comes, in another 45 minutes or so, we will pull up the brand new episode that drops tonight, and we will watch it. Now, just in case this is your first time here and you have no idea how this works, watch parties are not a thing over on YouTube, sadly. Because Amazon owns Twitch, you can do watch parties on Twitch, but they aren't typically available immediately, because they want people to watch the stream through their own platform, and so that first bump of views that happens right when the episode drops, they have that just go on their website before they open it up to watch parties, usually a day or two later, to my knowledge. So I could do that over on Twitch. However, I don't have anything over on Twitch anymore. I have pretty much YouTubed myself. I have switched from Twitch to YouTube, partly for monetization reasons, and partly just because I think that whether it's 6 months from now or 2 years from now, I think Twitch is slowly going to circle the drain and not necessarily be a thing anymore. Or if it is still a thing, it will just not be the best option for me. So I have already switched over to YouTube, which means that even if we were to do watch parties over on Twitch, I can't really do anything with that monetarily. And I'm not just doing this for the money, but it does help. You know, it's a lot of time I put into doing this, so getting those tiny little bits of AdSense or, you know, people seeing links to my website and going and purchasing something from my store, little things like that make a huge difference. And Twitch has not made any effort to keep me there. Not that I have a huge following, but even so, every little bit helps. Hey, Eli, I'm doing well. I am super tired, thus I'm just going to do this live stream and the watch party, and then I will be doing a quick calligraphy stream, probably maybe 2 hours of calligraphy will be happening over on TikTok. And then I'm going to bed. Is the second breakfast yet? I know, gosh. I just ate. I ate too quickly, actually. I burned that little bit of skin that's right behind your upper teeth. Burned the heck out of it. I can feel that it's already blistered. Oops. I was rushing. What is my favorite Lord of the Rings character? Ooh, tough call. Okay, so favorite Tolkien character, if we're going really broad, favorite Tolkien character, I want to say Gwyndor. And this is a relatively minor character from the Silmarillion during the chapter about Turin Turambar. Also appears actually a bit more prominently in the Children of Húrin book, which is a standalone book of just the Turin story from the Silmarillion, expanded with a couple extra notes just mixed in. They did a really good job of that standalone book. I really like it. I'm currently rereading it. Having breakfast for dinner? Yes, that's what I did last night. It was great, except for the part where I opened a new thing of heavy cream, because I add just a little dollop of cream to my eggs. And when I did that, of course, foolishly, I pulled the foil off of the bottle and then screwed the top back on. I forgot that it's a pop top and not a screw top, and so I went to go shake it, and I shook it, and the thing popped open, and the cream went literally everywhere in my kitchen. Everywhere. It got on shelves. It was all over my entire stove, and I have a gas stove, so it got on everything. All of the heating elements. It got on the floor. It went all over me. Like, it was a mess. And so I spent a good 45 minutes just cleaning up my kitchen before I could make dinner. And it was already a late dinner. It was a nightmare, but the eggs were excellent. At the end of all that. And I have a loaf of what I call biscuit bread. It's just a quick bread, but I have a biscuit loaf, and so I had a nice slice of that in addition to my eggs. It was very nice. Very, very nice. But going back to the favorites question, if we were just going to say Lord of the Rings only? Lord of the Rings only. Probably Aragorn or Sam. Because Samwise Gamgee, I mean, just dear, dear Sam. What a sweet guy. And he really does, like, literally hard carry the story near the end there. But I love Sam. I like Aragorn, though I think certain parts of Aragorn don't get fleshed out fully in the story. Just because the writing style of Tolkien. So there's that. In The Hobbit, hands down, Thranduil. Like, I mean, can you read the shirt? The shirt says Thran Daddy. I wear this thing all the time. It's one of my favorite designs that I've made. Also available on my store. Quick question about the last episode. Why did the Palantir show a vision of the fall of Numenor, in my opinion? Yeah, how can you not like Sam? I know, right? Okay, so the Palantir showed the fall of Numenor. When we see Miriel's nightmare, it's basically this recurring nightmare that she's had because of what she's seen in the Palantir. And she has sort of explored it more fully in the Palantir, whatever dreamscape you want to call it. Why did it show her the fall of Numenor? I think that especially because the Palantiri are seeing stones originally created by Feanor. These are elven devices, and they were gifted to men to keep them in contact with the elves of Tol Eressëa, which is the easternmost island of Valinor, where elves live. These were gifts from the elves, and they were used to sort of send messages on behalf of the Valar. And so I think the purpose behind showing Miriel this vision of the fall of Numenor, as dark as it is to try to sway her into action. Now, whether that pushes her, faster toward the fall, or if she returns to the old ways, as they are calling them in the series, of being loyal to the elves and heeding the words of the Valar, if they go back to the old ways, there's that slim possibility that fate could change. Because the only one who knows all ends, besides Eru Iluvatar himself, the one god, would be Namo, Mandos. He runs the halls of the dead, and he's sort of... think of him like Hades, kind of. in that he's the lord of the underworld, if you will. But he handles the underworld stuff, death, time, fate. Those are all his purview. So other than Namo, and he doesn't tend to interfere very often, the Valar are trying to steer the Numenorians away from ruin. So I think that the fall of Numenor is just a general warning to Miriel, probably from Aule. You know, Aule, Alse, and Uinen can swallow up Numenor whenever they feel like it. So I think this is meant as a warning of, you're not on the right path, maybe rethink this a little bit. Now, will she actually do that or not? We will come to see that. Of course, we do know ultimately, spoiler alert, we do know that ultimately Numenor will fall. But we get to see the lead up to that and see where Miriel ends up on the side of things. So I think it'll still be interesting to see where she particularly ends up. So hopefully that answered your question of why I think it showed her the fall of Numenor, of all things. Because the gods are cryptic. That's the long answer. That's the short answer. The gods are cryptic, and they can't just give you a message being like, hey, you might want to not do that, and maybe renew your alliance with the elves. I'm just putting it out there. Instead of giving them a clear message, they would send it cryptically through just a vision of doom. Yes, Tar Palantir took the name after the Palantiri to mean farsighted. And of course, canonically, he does end up being farsighted because he, as Miriel explains in this episode, in episode 4, he wanted a return to the old ways and championed it and really, pushed harder than Miriel thought that he would, or thought that was even necessary. But he was pushing for that. And it split the population of Numenor. And he was forced off of the throne. So he's not dead. He's probably dying, but he's not dead. He was forced to relinquish the throne, and Miriel took it in his place. Because she, I think, was more sympathetic to both sides. They saw her as a good neutral party at the time. And I think she's had to try very hard to pacify the other side of the argument, the King's Men, who just want Numenor to be Numenor, no obligations to the elves, no obligations to the Valar, and pursuing power and prestige that will last beyond their years. So I think she was more sympathetic toward that, and that's why they tolerated her being on the throne. Let me see. I'm gonna try and catch up on your comments here. Yeah, Numenor. Okay, with the animated cartoons. Dude, I haven't watched those in so long. The crack in the Palantir. Yeah. This particular Palantir looks broken, or it has a large crack. I think that's just the way they are visualizing it. I don't think that the Palantir itself is broken. And I don't, at this point, I don't think it would have been corrupted in any way. Not yet, if that even happens. But I think it's just the visual, the way that they are sort of crackling and expanding to encompass the people who are touching it, bring them into this alternate reality. I think it was just a way of them showing people getting transformed or transported into this other layer of consciousness, if you will. I think it was just a visual thing. I don't think that there was any deeper meaning behind that. Other than they didn't want it to be a rehashing like the Pensieve. Like liquid memories and stuff, and they didn't want it to be liquid-based. Visually. or smoke-based. Liquid-based would have made some sense when it came to the Numenorians, but I honestly like the way that they made it sort of like a crystal cracking and splitting and shards opening up. I liked that because it brought more Feanor energy into it, and I appreciated that. So I think it was just a visual. I could be wrong. Bit strange that through the Palantir and not directly, because it felt like someone on the mortal plane is behind it. That's fair. And yeah, I could absolutely be wrong. I don't pretend to know. But we've got half an hour and I haven't even started on the thread. It's a shorter thread than typical. There weren't too many details. But let's go through them. So anybody who's over on TikTok, if you want to jump on over to my YouTube channel, you'll be able to see the Twitter thread that I'm referencing as we go through this bit. Maybe to differentiate between Saruman's, possibly as well, yeah. Saruman's was very, I mean, everything was corrupted at that point in the Third Age too, so you have a lot more of Sauron's energy, which is very fire-based, fire and destruction. So you have everything sort of blast at people through these visions and flames and stuff. So I think that because of how it was done with, you know, a different copyright holder with the franchise, they wanted to depart from that, actively depart from that. Do I think that they are going to show that Numenor is already using Mithril while the dwarves just discovered it? Would love to see that interaction. I don't know. I don't know exactly what they plan on doing with the whole Mithril thing, because Mithril, I believe, was actually found in the First Age. Even slightly before the First Age, but it was early First Age, I thought. Because most of like the blades of Gondolin and stuff like that were mined from such things. And then you have just those couple of random blades that were made out of meteorite. The black swords of the dark elf Eol. So, I don't know. I don't know how they're handling that. I know that they're just using it as a way to bring the dwarves and elves together. Yarendil's ship was made of mithril? I don't remember that detail. If so, cool. I don't remember that. But let's go through the notes, shall we? So, as per usual, this is my quick and dirty thread. I have not had the time to update the official thread, so we might jump for the little lines of Quenya that are in the episode. I might jump back to the correction thread on my Discord server. It's not my Discord, it's just a Discord server that I am part of. Hi guys! Okay, so, at the beginning of the episode we have this scene where in Numenor, Tamar, who is the smith who's making a fuss over everyone being elf lovers, he goes on his rant in the town square, and behind him is a message board. Hi, Gray. There is a message board behind him, and we get sort of this broad shot of the message board. And you can see the upper lining of the message board here has Tengwar on it. So I translated that. And then later on in the episode, we get a... Hi, Gray. We get a closer look at the bits down here behind Elendil when he's giving the proclamation at the end of the episode. So all of this is Tengwar, which I love. Something I relish is every episode getting something in Tengwar to decode. So in this case, the top portion there says, "Blessed are the Edain, friends to the Eldar, children of the world." And underneath this, we'll get to what it says, but it's talking about the ban of the Valar. So we'll get to that in a minute. We got another look at the document from the ancient vaults of Numenor, when Galadriel and Elendil went to the Hall of Lore. they retrieved these documents, and one of them looks like it's in a combination of Tengwar and Numenorian script. Honestly, there are some characters that are absolutely 100% Numenorian in this, having decoded another document, which we'll get to in a minute. Some characters are obviously Numenorian. Some characters are Kirth. They're runes. And I'm like, well, make up your mind. And then other characters look like a more angular version of Tengwar characters. So, if I click on this character here, it looks like sort of an M with the point of the M going down a little further and then jutting over like an L. That character is probably a V. Because the Tengwar character for V is, it's a line and then two humps with a closed line at the bottom. That's the V sound. It's the voiced fricative V. And so with that swoosh over top of it, that would make this the word of. And I'm like, that's reasonable. So it looks like some of these characters are similar to Tengwar, but I could be wrong. That's the thing. That's what's so frustrating about it. Because, I mean, like, this one looks open and this one looks closed. So it's really hard to suss it out. Several of the characters look very much like the Numenorian script, and then you reach one or two of them where I'm just like, that's not Numenorian, though. That looks more like a Kirth rune. Even the bottom part here, you see the, I think it's called Aze. You see Aze and you see Lambe. These are Tengwar characters. Or, that might be Alda. So it's like, it's a combination of the different scripts. So I think that this was it was created when Numenor was going through a shift of identity. And so I think they tried to display that in this really roundabout, tiny detail by showing a mixture of different writing systems sort of coming together and reformulating. So I think that was the purpose behind this. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. So it can't be translated, or at least not by me. I do not have the time to suss through that and figure it all out. Next up, we have the conversation between Adar and Arundir, which of course I adored. Hey, I'm so glad you're learning some Elvish. That's why I'm here. You identify with Turin. I think that's why you're a weeb. Let me look at chat. I know I missed a couple things. Mithril and Elven Glass. Nice! I don't know why I don't remember that detail about Earendil's ship, about Vingolote. That's super cool, though. The image on the crest. Oh, right. The image on the crest that is for the Southlanders. Is it supposed to be an animal? We don't know. We don't know. To me, it looks like a bird swooping down. It looks like a bird with a beak and then wings out the back of it. But what does that have to do with the Southlands? Like, we haven't seen that symbolism come into play yet. Unless it's supposed to be a carrion bird or a crow. So it's a possibility, but I don't know for sure. I'm hoping that we'll see it come into play and that the symbology of it will be explored further, for sure. Could it be a dragon? Probably not. And the only reason I say that is between the first age and second age, the dragons that were a part of the War of Wrath have now gone into hiding, basically. They're in hiding. Later on in the second age and into the third age, they start revealing themselves and attacking the Dwarf Lords. Specifically the Dwarf Lords that are given rings of power and have amassed great wealth. The dragons are, of course, drawn to that. They destroy the dwarves, and then they have hordes. Much like Smaug does in Erebor. Same story, just different realms. Same thing. Oh, it's mentioned in Bilbo's song. Oh. It's been too long since I've read Lord of the Rings. I really need to reread it. I'll do that. Hopefully, after I've recovered a bit from top surgery, we'll get started with that. I just don't have time between now and then to get it started and get it done. We'd have to take a huge hiatus in the middle, and I don't want to do that. So, yeah, later in the year. I'll shoot for December. Hopefully we can start doing those streams by December, and then continue doing once or twice a week streams reading The Lord of the Rings. I would love that. So we have a conversation between Arundir and Adar. Adar, we still don't know who this guy is, but we did get our first actual good look at him, and I'll go into a couple of those details. And y'all can make up your own minds about Adar. I'm hoping that it's not anything that comes to mind super easily, but there are a lot of parallels between him and Maeglin, and we'll talk about those in a moment. So in this conversation, when Adar first addresses Arundir, this is incorrect, so don't take it at face value, okay? My Quenya is terrible. I know this. I'm specialized in Sindarin, and of course, the show isn't using very much Sindarin at all. It's mostly Quenya. It's driving me bonkers. But that's why I have friends in high places, if you will, and they handle the Quenya for me. Though even they were like, some of these phrases don't quite make sense. And I was like, okay. So I'll take their word for it. They're far more intelligent on this than I am. Dragons are a creation of Melkor. Correct. He is the father of dragons. Just like Sauron is the lord of vampires and werewolves. So we can kind of assume that vampires and werewolves came from Sauron. Okay, sorry, Gray. Go on. He's bringing up programs on my computer by accident. So this dialogue between Adar and Arundir, while I don't have the correct Quenya here, it does translate to, "Where were you born, soldier?" he asks of Arundir. And he says, "Beleriand." And so the immediate response is, "By the mouth of the river?" So obviously Adar is fishing for information here, and Arundir, being a good soldier, is just like, "Who are you?" Like, he doesn't answer the question. He answers the question with another question. Very well done. Well done, Arundir. That is what you should have done. But because of the way that Adar says the by the mouth of the river, the way that he does that in Quenya, the words are sort of out of order. Like, they don't quite make sense. And so my friends are thinking that this would be an indication that that perhaps Quenya is not his native language, or that he's pretending to be an elf of Beleriand or of a certain portion of Beleriand when that's not actually where he's from. So there could be levels of deception going on here, is what they were saying. And I don't think they're necessarily wrong. Yeah, I think he was fishing to see if Arundir was one of the Noldor or one of the Sindar/Teleri. Because you can't necessarily tell just by looking at an elf, which I think is a good thing. It you know, gives people a little bit more wiggle room to get creative with stuff. But I do think he was fishing to try and get that sort of information out of Arundir to hopefully use it to his own benefit somehow. But he fails. He fails because Arundir's like, "That didn't sound right. Like, I speak Quenya. That didn't sound right." And he's just like, "Who are you?" Of course, Adar does not reply, but he does make some really cool lines about having traveled down the river once when he was young, and how the sage blossoms were, you know, miles and miles of sage blossoms, which the reason that could be an actual place would be that Nantathren, which is a place along the Sirion River, the large river in Beleriand, north-south running, that river runs through an area called Nantathren, and this is the land of Willows. This is also referenced by Treebeard, I believe, as being a place where Ents used to be. Or at least the Ent wives used to be, and there were Entings and such. So Nantathren, the land of willows. Described as being very beautiful, number one, but also attracting tons of butterflies. And butterflies love really brightly colored flowers, and sage blossoms are bright purple. So this could actually be accurate information. And so that's why I'm sort of oscillating between